Thank you, Dr. Tim.
Have a wonderful show.
Thank you. So welcome, everybody, to the second hour of Mind Shifters Radio. Today is Tuesday, July the 6th, 2021. And our call-in number is 563-999-3581. And press 1, and that puts you in the queue to talk to us. We'd love to hear your comments and your questions because that makes this your show. There were some glitches on our website yesterday, so if you attempted to get into the MP4 videos or into the blog or the archives of the radio show, there were several links that were messed up for some reason. And we have it all back in order, so give it another try if you couldn't get in there yesterday. And as always, drop me an email at Jeanie, Jeanie, at whyagain.org, and you can just tell me what link or what page isn't working, and I'll do my best to get it fixed. Appreciate you. So welcome, Michael.
Thank you, Gerhard. Honored and delighted that you're here to engage this conversation one more time, bringing forward one more level of understanding,
Michael,
one more piece of the puzzle. And
adjust your microphone just a little bit.
We get to take advantage of this technology that empowers us to have a conversation about these first century Aramaic tools. And then, within minutes after the conversation's over, anyone can go and download the MP3 and give it a listen again or pass it on to friends.
Michael, if you're still on there, you just disappeared. Let's give him let me walk in there and let him know. He may still be talking and give an introduction. So hold on just a second. Okay, he's dialing back in. Let's give him just a moment. Technology, what can you say? All right. While he's having some issues there getting in, I'll just say again that I hope everybody had an awesome 4th of July celebration, whether you were with family or not. I was able to get my dad to see all of his remaining siblings. There's, counting Dad, there's only 5 of them. And so I was able to make sure that he got with each one and took pictures of them together. And so that was the highlight. One of my brothers was able to join us down on the farm, and so we had a good time. And I'm not sure what's going on for Michael, why he's not in. Oh, I see him down here as a regular call-in, so let me turn his microphone on. Hello.
Hey, sweetie. I don't know what happened. It just kept disconnecting me on the call-in line. So
we got you.
This one, but we're here, so I'm delighted to be here. Well, the weekend of the celebration of liberty is over, and of course, liberty from the past becomes one of the key components, or one of the key objectives of this work of forgiveness. That instead of running in the replicate mind, instead of repeat, that we move into a space where the hostilities and fears of the past are removed, and we get to live in a different mind. It's interesting. 2,000 years ago, they talked about these two minds, and you can remember Paul talking about the mind of Christ, and we've been taught to think of that as a religious thing, but it's not religious at all. It's just that there is the mind of the body. There is carbon-based memory. There is what's stored in the database as memory and shoots up perceptions, generates perceptions that appear to be true about the world, but really they're only true about the content of carbon-based memory. And then there's this mind that is a mind that is keyed to love, and whenever it's active, love is always present in physiology, is always active in physiology. When it's not, then we're in that other mind. And that other mind is a mind to be literally removed. There's a self that lives in our memory bank, all the thoughts and ideas and messages we've been given about ourselves and that we've come to think of as ourselves. And that's the self, if you look into those ancient teachings, that they said had to die. And remember, Yeshua says, in order for you to live, you've got to die. He's not talking about a bullet in your head, cancel the thought. He's talking about the self that is a product of the firing of brain cells out of the past has to go in order for the true mind, the mind of love, to come to life and to function out of that. So this whole body of work, in its simplest form, is about literally removing, dismantling the self that's based in hostility or fear, and creating a cradle, creating a space for the self that is based in love to come into full expression and full fruition through our physiology, incarnating as love and bringing that presence of love into action in the world. So that's the objective of this work, and certainly lots of work to be done. We were watching an interesting video last night. You might find it intriguing. And it was called, let's see, what was that, Gene? The Light.
It was the Tales of Light, and it's on Netflix.
Tales of Light, yeah, Tales of Light on Netflix, and they were going into third world countries and looking at some of the conditions there, and pretty tragic, and certainly something that needs our compassion and support, the healing of the poverty dynamics that are going on in the world. Although they did make one statement that I thought was totally and completely out of line with truth, and that was he talked about how it's getting worse and worse. And the truth is, if we look on a global scale, more people have food in their bellies. Your keyboard, sweetie's rocking away in my ear. More people have food in their bellies, have clean water and shelter and education than have ever happened on the planet. Like, we've made completely a wreck and unsafe, but somehow or other there's such a lack of integrity in the adult population that's allowed to go on, and it's just a cultural norm, and certainly something that we can hold a space for shifting and changing so that the children of the world are cared for out of this space of love and are nurtured and protected and given a fair shot at growing into healthy adults with healthy minds and healthy bodies in a healthy environment. And again, I certainly acknowledge all of the people who've put energy in that direction to make some of the monumental upgrades that have been made over the decades. And beyond that, let's take a look at the current reading in Why Is This Happening to Me Again? We're on the chapter on choosing teachers, and we've got a page or two to go in that chapter, looking at the difference between the false teacher and the true teacher. And there's some conversation going on with Richard when we look at the negative side. He's like, well, but we don't want to be condemning. We don't want to be judgmental. It's like, that's true, but we do want to be able to be honest. We want to be able to look at and honestly assess what's going on in our minds, in our worlds, in our family systems. So the conversation moves into the need to condemn negative behavior, or those practicing it, can also be healed. A willingness to investigate is required. Knowledge is power. Ignorance does not lead to healing. It leads to staying stuck behind a prison fence, suffering, and pretending there is no way out. Classic victimhood. With information, understanding, and dedication, it's possible to create a space of healing for everyone who engages in negative behavior. You know, we live on the punishment planet, and everybody thinks, well, somebody does something bad or wrong, and they need to be punished. I think that's one of the most disastrous pieces of mind energy that ever showed up on the earth. You know, there is no one, I don't care how depraved they are, that deserves punishment. They might deserve to be isolated from the society because of the dangers they present. The people in the political arena today, that the world would be much better off if they were isolated from society because of the types of messages they deliver and the degrading of other people that takes place. But punishment isn't the answer. Punishment just inflicts more of the energy. When you think of energy on the planet as coming in pools, if we've got a certain size pool of energy of suffering, and somebody comes along and sees someone who's inflicting suffering and says, well, we need to inflict more suffering on them, then the pool of suffering energy just got bigger. Yes, no question. Isolate, remove from society, definitely an upgrade. But punishment is just silly. It just, when we think in terms of energy and the energies that we support and the energies that we engage in. So there's healing that's necessary. And this healing process includes ourselves and anyone who takes advantage of another. Within this understanding, we can also support the healing of people who set themselves up to be manipulated. Every player in a situation must be healed for a total shift to occur. Healing also means that each person involved automatically moves closer to the awareness of their true purpose and finds it easier to be guided in its accomplishment. It is valuable to comprehend the healing dynamic so that we have the capacity to choose what to do and what not to do. Understanding manipulation in no way evaluates what another has done or should do, for that is his or her business, not ours. However, having proper understanding allows a space for us to be held accountable and hold others accountable for what is done. So accountability is an important part of the healing process. Just pretending something never happened and pretending that healings occurred is not a sane or sensible solution. So understanding becomes the key. So that's our couple of paragraphs for today from Choosing Teachers. And it looks like we've got about 50 minutes left, so let's check in and see if we've got a hand up in the phone queue, sweetie.
It is all quiet.
Well, then let's make some noise. Somebody out there got something to share with us? Let's ramp it up. Push one. Let's have a conversation. Would love to hear from you. What's happening in your world? What's exciting in your world? How are the tools fitting in your world? What questions do you have about, in particular, the forgiveness process? And, of course, the forgiveness tool was the beginning of this work back 40-plus years ago, and it's grown to a whole series of tools that we're here to support you with. So there are lots of different worksheets on the website. If you go to whyagain.org and you look under the section on worksheets, you will see that we have lots of different tools, lots of different how-to. The worksheets are a format to follow to bring the mind into awareness and to wake up to who we are.
We have a hand up.
Oh, great. Let's say hello to our caller.
It's area code 406. You're on the air. Who do we have?
Hi, it's Lisa.
Oh, hey there, young lady. Good to hear your voice. How are you?
Good. I just wanted to tell you about nothing about work, but just about an experience that I had. So I don't know if you've seen that Bob and I, we drove to Pagosa Springs, Colorado from Ohio and then drove back. So it took us about 2 weeks. We stayed at Mom's new house in Pagosa Springs for about a week. But
nice.
While in Pagosa Springs, we went to breakfast one morning, and we were laughing, and we were having this beautiful, whatever, layered with chili and beautiful stuff. And I said out loud, I'm going to hit the head. Never in my life have I said I'm going to hit the head. But you know who used to say that?
Who's
Patrick.
That?
Patrick used to say it every single time. And I started to cry because we were at the last intensive. Patrick, used to joke about, well, let's go down to IHOP and have a breakfast, and we were laughing and joking about how breakfast is our favorite meal and, all those things about, anyway.
Right.
And it was just quite a moment. And it was just a moment, but it was really neat.
What do you suppose triggered those particular brain cells to come up with that phrase and key you into that? You may be hanging out with your son?
I don't know. But I just thought it was interesting. I think
maybe
it was,
Patrick was visiting you.
That's kind of what I was thinking. I was thinking that because we were eating something that was fun and we were having fun and laughing, I was thinking maybe that was the case. But what do I know?
Well, I join you in acknowledging Patrick and holding the space for the next level of his journey, whatever he's up to now. So
anyway, that was all I had to share.
Yeah, okay. Well, it's interesting as well that when Ari passed, Julie said she got some really clear communication that he was at Heartland and doing some inner work while he was there. So we'll hold them both in a blessing.
Yeah, I know that Julie was having some, it was about a month ago, there was some correspondence with her, I think on the radio show, that she was having troubles dialing in. It would be nice to hear how she's doing.
Well, I'll drop her a text and say hello.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah, invite her to dial in and say hello. We haven't heard her voice on the show in a while.
Yeah. So, anyway, that was all I had for you. Lots of,
cool.
Obviously, riding in a car, I'm sure you folks can relate, riding in a car for 2 weeks with one person, traveling, gives lots of lovely opportunities for growth.
You mean you had opportunities to learn forgiveness driving with Bob for that long?
I did.
How amazing.
I did.
How amazing.
Yes.
Did you take advantage of them all?
I'm not sure I took advantage of every single one of them, but the ones that were the biggest for me. So it was good. And it it's just so funny when one, even if I don't always do the right thing, since now I understand it's all about me and my perceptions, I can have anger triggered, but the bottom line is it's all me.
It's mine. Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
We're getting ready on Sunday, actually, to take our first journey in quite a while. We're going to head to St. Louis. We have a new grandbaby there that is, in August will be a year of circling the sun. So we're going to get to see her for the first time. And then our other granddaughter, who's been circling the earth for 9 years, and my daughter and her husband. I don't think you've ever met Krista. And then we're going to head to Kansas City and spend some time with my son, and then make a circle back through Heartland. We'll see Magda and Chuck and Julie, and get some things at Heartland, and head back to Bristol. So we're going to be on the road for about 10 days. So looking forward to that.
That's
It's
exciting.
been a long time since we've been on the road.
Right. And it was so nice to see Jeannie's pictures on Facebook. Yesterday, all of a sudden it dawned on me. I was like, oh, that's right. They used to have a huge family get together every 4th of July, and to see her father, and it was just those were great pictures. So.
Did you see the video of Aria doing Tai Chi and then doing the love balls to share around with everybody?
No.
Oh, well. Take a. I'm sure Jeannie put it on her page, but it's also on my page. But take a look, and
okay.
It's pretty sweet. She's got a little dress on and her diaper, of course, and she raises one of her legs and Tai Chi. She's practicing Tai Chi, and then she's generating this energy and sending it to everybody. It was just really sweet, and she just had a blast the whole weekend with all these cousins and aunts and uncles.
Well, I wrote on Jeannie's page, and of course I've never met Aria. I don't, but she's such a large presence when she's with you folks on the radio show, and I feel like I can feel her maybe not feel her, but it resonates for me when my own children were that age and how eager and how exciting, and she's just such a cute little thing. But when I saw the pictures of her next to her cousins who are much bigger than her, and she's such a little thing, but she's such a large presence. Anyway, it was almost shocking to me to see how teeny she is. And not saying that she's undersized. She's just a little kid, is what she is.
Oh, she's perfect for her size. But but her cousins, the cousin she was playing with, and she's 34 months, and the cousin she's playing with are 4 and 5 and 6. And they at one point said to her, "How old are you?" And she said 2, and they were like, "You're only 2?" So anyway, pretty sweet. We're pretty blessed. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
All right, well, tell Bob we said hello and give him a hug for us.
I will. And
right.
Safe journeys. All right. Aloha.
Thank you. All right. Take care. Aloha.
All right. We have 38 minutes.
Yeah. Sweet to connect with and look at this whole community that's developed around the work over the last 50 years. I was just on the phone with the physician from Florida who's out in California and people he's connecting with, and it's just really pretty sweet, pretty cool to just have this community all over the globe. And so if you're out there in listener land, what's on your mind? If you're on one of those stations where we can't see you, 563-999-3581 is the calling number.
And we have a hand.
Great. Let's say hello.
Area code 480. You're on the air. Who do we have?
Hi, it's Cecilia again.
Well, hey, young lady. Welcome.
Hey, yesterday, when you were sharing about codependence to interdependence communication practicum, I have it right in front of me, and I had a question about it. So I don't know if I'm reading this from a place of lack of money. Okay, I'm just saying that. I'm just saying, and I know I am, so I have to be honest. I don't believe I have a lack. I think I live like I do. Okay, anyway, so I have a thought that I do, but I'm not lacking. Okay. So I'll just cancel that call. But I am curious because I was reading it, and it includes, well, you would know I don't have, but I'm kind of looking at it. Topics covered. All of these topics that are covered, I have actually the DVD of the communication to use. Hear what I think I said, and I have everything but the mind shifters and still point breathing. I have that on DVD. So, what does that matter? That I already have them? That I've already listened to them a million times? Okay, that's exaggerated.
Well, what you'll find, remember the whole process is one of building brain cells.
Yeah.
So in an intensive, most people who do an intensive have worked with the tools for some time, have used the tools, and the intensive space is one that it sews things together in a unique way that opens a space for people to do their work.
Okay.
So it's about building brain cells. A lot of the interaction, there's interaction where, like let's say if you've got the video of why is this happening to me again, it's me presenting that workshop. But then in the intensive, I present that workshop, and then there's a question and answer session, and it's done in the context of you've got a personal code evaluation that tells you where your challenges are, and here are the assignments for working through it. So it's much more personalized. And you mentioned the codependence to interdependence, the communication workshop. That's a workshop that I started doing about 25 years ago. And it has almost experienced no change in 25 years. During this last intensive, we did a session with Magda and Chuck. You've heard us talk about them. You've heard Magda on the show before, and probably Chuck as well. And what for 25 years has been a one-page, here are the responsibility communication rules. As a result of that interaction and the people who participated in it with the questions and answers that developed and such, that's now a 3-page instruction set. Actually, we're just waiting to hear back from Magda with some edits from her and getting ready to publish the new instruction set. So if you watch that, it's like light years beyond what the DVD itself is. And it brings all the material in a way that's a continuous building of brain cells. It's like, I'm sure that oftentimes you recognize that, gee, you know, Michael talked about that topic 6 months ago, and Michael talked about that same topic 5 months ago, and Michael talked about that same topic before, and Michael talked about it again, and I have a whole different understanding now.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
It's building brain cells. And I'll talk about that topic tomorrow, and then there'll be still a whole other level of understanding. Everybody grasps each of the ideas on the level that they've got brain cells to do. The intensive builds a whole new set of brain cells. And if money's a challenge, I'll be happy to work with you to break it up over some kind of a payment plan that makes it doable. The total, including the
Thank you for that.
Personal code evaluations, the food program, and 80 hours of video is $600. So,
right. And I also did look for the meditation video. I actually got some that just downloaded meditations. One was, and I sort of listened to it.
Those meditations that seminar. Yeah, they were different light meditations and all that Michael did, and the Wellness Through Stillness is not one of the MP4 downloads. And Michael, it's 90 hours of video.
Oh, that's right. It's 90. Yes, it's actually 89 right now. We've still got one more extra session that we're going to do to make it around 90 hours, and then even 90 hours of video work.
And now with time, is it like going to a university where you show up or you miss out? Or
no, it's totally and completely done at your own pace. Jeannie will send you a spreadsheet that has a link to all of the videos and what the videos are, and you do that work. Like, for instance, if you've got, let's say, the workshops we cover are Why Is This Happening to Me Again? Healing Through Relationships, Communications, you hear what I think I said, Codependence to Interdependence, and Mind Shifters and Still Point Breathing. So if you've got all of those videos, you've got about, I think 13 or 14 hours of video.
Does that matter that I have them?
No, it doesn't matter. No, it's a foundation. But I'm just saying that you've got about 15 hours of video if you've got all of those DVDs. This
I don't
program,
have the Mind
which
Shifters.
is a whole lot of interaction and such, is 90 hours.
Oh, I see.
That's just scratching the surface of what we do in interactive and question answers and such. So what it consists of, it's actually 2 different intensives. The first intensive that we did was 14 weeks. We did 3 hours every Sunday for 14 weeks. And then we did an hour on Tuesday night. So it was live interaction, question, answer, and teaching work. Then we did another, actually it ended up being about 16 weeks with the second intensive. And that was a self-study, somewhat like this, except that there was a 2-hour live component. So there's an additional 2 hours of conversation each week for that 16 weeks on top of the information from the first intensive. So the whole thing comes out to be about 90 hours. So it's a lot more material that we cover than.
So like I'm used to seeing like something. Is this interacting with anybody else at all, or just like on Facebook? Like I see it says Facebook.
No, it's done. We did it on Zoom live.
Yeah.
And the first intensive, I forget our number. We had something like 25 people. So there's 25 faces on those videos where we're interacting in their question and answers. And actually, it's kind of interesting at Heartland. I wasn't so sure how doing a Zoom intensive was going to work, but the feedback that we got was that when people are at Heartland doing an intensive, I'm up in the front of the room and everybody's facing the front of the room, so they're really not connecting with and seeing what's happening for other people. In this intensive, the whole time you're sitting face to face with 25 other people, so you're getting live responses, live interactions, live question answers, and the guidance through the mind shifters and still point breathing process as well, which is the first time I've ever done that other than live.
Right.
In this particular intensive.
So this is like at a time that will work for me, that I will sign up for it when I look at my schedule and go, okay, I have this amount of time. And how much time do you recommend per day to work on it?
Well, that's a totally individual process. You're going to receive a spreadsheet with links to 90 hours of video. How quickly are you going to do it? Are you going to, sit like you're sitting in a college classroom and do 3 hours a day? Then you're going to go through that in 30 days.
See? Okay, I hear you. I'd like to get that clear in my head so that I don't feel panicky, that I just committed to something that I don't know how to fit into my life.
Right.
So
at your own pace.
Well, yes, but I would like to do it in 90 days. It just seems like any longer than that, it's kind of, I don't know.
Well, and here's what I offer. When you finish the 90 days, like there were people in this intensive. One in particular, and maybe Magda's out there listening to the show if she wants to push the button. And Magda has the responsibility communication tool has always been one of her favorites. And, she's someone who's been doing the work for about 12 years. She actually came and she's been to, I don't even know how many intensives, 10 or 12 of them at Heartland. She came and spent 6 months on the support team at Heartland, living and working at Heartland with the tools. Yes. And that responsibility communication was one of her favorites. And when she when she volunteered to be the sample person to do the process in this intensive, and her, I don't know how I can say it for her, but maybe Magda, if you're listening, help, push one. She can share with you. But it was like, just boosted her light years beyond what was her favorite tool, when she was at Heartland, was what, Jeannie, about 8 or 9 years ago? And it was her favorite tool back then. But she just came to a whole new level of understanding and a whole new level of application of it that's been mind-boggling for her and exciting for her.
Yes.
And having been the one who created the workshop and taught it for 25 years, it was a whole new level of excitement and insight for me, because I hadn't changed that worksheet in 25 years. And it's a whole new thing. The basics are still there, but we will be having a conversation. The forgiveness tool is available on our website. Go to whyagain.org, our website. Upper left-hand corner is a link that says Start Here. Click that link. It'll walk you through many, 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 many hours of instruction on how to and why to do the first century Aramaic forgiveness process. And recognize that first century Aramaic forgiveness process has nothing to do with, I'm going to let you off the hook for what's happening inside of me. We are never going to suggest that you ever forgive anybody ever again, because you can't forgive anybody, because forgiveness isn't about letting somebody else off the hook. Forgiveness is about uncovering parts of your own mind that hold hostility or fear, accessing those parts of your mind, exposing them to love, and removing them. So forgiveness is removal. So we're not talking about forgiving yourself or forgiving other people. If you have hostility, Cecilia was just talking about anger. So the forgiveness work would be for Cecilia to remove her anger. That's her forgiveness work. People with sadness, grief, or rage, or depression, hostility, fear, it's about the removal of those things. And it's a process that one goes through step by step. And our objective here is to help people to build the brain cells for how to do that, and then to garner support for walking through everything in your life that is unlike who you and what you really are. And my offering is that who you and what you really are is the active presence of love. If you hold a newborn child, tap into the essence of the child, that's the stuff we're made of. It's not something we do to each other. And we've been tricked into thinking we're supposed to love one another. We're going to say, never, ever, ever effort loving anybody. The effort to be done correctly is to effort being who you are, functioning out of the space of active present love. And then, of course, when you point that state of being toward another, people would say, well, you're being very loving. But that would be the expression comes from being. Strictly speaking, we can't love anybody. We either are love or we're not. It's not about somebody else. When I forgive my hostility and fear, the only thing that's left is who I am. And then I stand as that space of active present love. And as that experience becomes deepened in me, I get to live in a different world. To our website, whyagain.org. In the upper left-hand corner, click the button that says Start Here. It'll walk you through the whole forgiveness process. You can also go to your app store on your phone, type in the words Heartland, Heartland, Aramaic, Aramaic, forgiveness. Download the app. It's a totally and completely private app. You can do the forgiveness process right there on your phone. The worksheet is embedded in the app. 2 different versions of it, actually. There's a game called the Dragon Klingon game to introduce kids to forgiveness. And there are links there that you can go right to my commitment from the Healing Through Relationships workshop. So lots of functionality, and we're always adding new pieces to the puzzle so that the support becomes broadened. Invite you to download the app and put it to work. Share it with somebody else. And then as you enter into... Oh, go for it, sweetie.
I was just going to say we have a hand up.
Awesome. Let's say hello.
I think this might be Doug, 314. You're on the air.
Hey, Michael, it's Doug. Yes. Is this
hey,
audio?
Welcome.
I guess it's
You're
okay.
loud and clear.
Oh, great. Okay.
Where do you be in the world?
I'm in Minnesota.
Ah, still up there? Cool.
Yeah.
How's it going?
Well,
no, life isn't giving you opportunities to learn forgiveness again, is it, Doug?
Oh my gosh, yes. Yes. So I'm doing a worksheet, and I just thought, well, whatever conversation involves will be helpful.
Good breath.
Diane and I. Did you say take a breath?
No, I say that
okay.
was a good breath.
Oh, good. Yeah. Well, we're talking later today, I think, and I'm doing a worksheet on terror because I see that I have terror, really with any outcome of our conversation, and it's a good worksheet, and it's showing me some cool stuff, and I realize that the thought I have is if I commit to anything, I will painfully fail. It's like that's the thought, and
how about a mind shifter?
Yeah. Okay. Great.
Everything I commit to is always outrageously successful. That were your presumption about you and your life.
Yeah, that would be great. Because
yeah,
it would be the complete inversion of what I'm discovering inside of me right now as I'm doing this worksheet. Committing to anything is using my willpower, my self-authority equals and is a formula for a generator of a guarantee of failure. Don't commit so that you don't fail. So that's content I'm trying to remove.
So notice that when you don't commit, you just failed. Like it's already a done deal.
Right. Yeah.
So how about commitment? Commitment is safe and healing and always leads to successful outcomes.
Great. All right.
Where do you suppose? I mean, this sounds like a pretty deep thought disorder that commitment to me means failure. Was that a power person dynamic in your life? That no matter what you did, there was always someone there to put you down or drag you down or tear you down or beat you down?
What I've been seeing so far is that, the first thought that came forward was I really committed on my marriage to do all I could to make it successful, and I failed. And, and I can see that my person dynamic was, or it failed. My power person dynamic was always trying to please my power person in order to, get love, of course. And I...
You realize you can't get love, right? You realize how fake a goal that is. You can't get love. That's kind of like, the fake news game that's being played in the world right now. It's a fake promise. You can't get love from anybody. You can function as love and therefore experience love, but you're not going to get that from anybody else. And if you don't have it yourself and you try to get it from them, you just set yourself up for failure because you can't get it from them. You can get approval, but you can't taste the experience of love from someone else.
That's right.
It comes from you experiencing who you are. And part of the ability to experience who you are is to fully enter your life, fully committed, rocking into it. And so that thought disorder that automatically is going to be failure is one that just needs to be removed.
Clearly. What was that statement you just said about you enter your life fully committed? Something about that.
Yeah, it's only when you, as a human being, as love, enter your physiology ready to go into the world fully functional, fully expressive, and fully committed that you're ever going to get to experience the love that you are. If I go, I always have to keep that on the shelf back there somewhere so it doesn't get hurt, then the experience of love is never available. I might find somebody that I'm attracted to and they're attracted to me, and it's so wonderful, we have fun, she approves of me at every moment, I approve of her at every moment. But there's no love in that. There's only love when you enter the picture.
Well, there's only love when what? Please, that's what I want.
When you enter the picture.
You enter the picture.
You being who you are.
Okay.
And if you commit to that,
only love
it can't be anything else.
Would it be accurate to say there's only love when I show up as the love that I am? Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. If I have to keep me, the truth of my direct experience of love, hidden somewhere in the corner because I might get hurt, then I'm never going to get to experience it because it's always hidden in the corner, so it won't get hurt.
Yeah.
And when I create the space, go ahead.
I see myself resisting the idea of, trying to constantly please her or someone else, constantly try and meet their goals so that they'll, quote, love me or approve of me or so that I can have a relationship with them. That's
a whole falsity, Doug. That whole thing is a false dynamic.
And I feel like
no matter what, if I'm in a relationship with another human being, I'm probably in a relationship with someone who has some form of hostility or fear in them. And sooner or later, no matter what, I'm going to bring it up for them. And when I bring it up, I'm going to do a behavior. And my behavior might be wondrous and wonderful, and it's still going to bring up their hostility. And if they turn it toward me, and I think that their hostility is about me, I'm going to go put myself back in the corner and hide again because look what I did. I tried so hard, but they don't love me. I mean, if someone you're in relationship with is in hostility, how about coming forward as compassion and the presence of love to support their healing, rather than thinking it's all about you, because it's not about you. Somebody goes into hostility and disapproval, it's nothing to do with you. You may be the trigger, but if in that circumstance you buy into the thought disorder that it's about me, it means that I'm a bad person or whatever it is, then you just vacated your own life again.
Yeah.
The truth is, in relationships, we have people, and people carry generations and generations and generations of hostility and fear. And I don't care how much work you've done, I've never met anybody that's freed of their hostility or fear fully. I've never met anybody. And so can I be the space and make the space of compassion and keep my being present even if she goes into some sort of hostility and storms at me in disapproval? Can I recognize, oh, sweetie, I see that you're storming in disapproval. I'm going to hold the space. I'm going to breathe. I'm going to be with you. I'm here for you and with you. Keeping communication open and keeping love conscious, active, and present as we heal, celebrate life, and grow together. Otherwise, if you think that you functioning and experiencing yourself as a human being, as love, is dependent on her approval or disapproval, set yourself up for failure.
Very good, very good. Yay, yay, yay. That's helpful for me to hear.
And, we come from a culture that sets us up for that failure. We come from a culture that has parents that don't know their hostility or fear belongs to them, and they go, you little rotten, look what you did to me, And that's all fraud. It's all a lie. This work is about undoing the lies and showing up as who we are. And, of course, that's going to come in stages because, we tend to resonate into relationships with people who have matching bags of garbage. And so when your bag of garbage goes off, it's going to tend to resonate her bag of garbage, and now we've got the War of the Roses. But when each of you realizes, I'm not experiencing myself as love because of something that I'm doing, then I can change what I'm doing. I can forgive this disapproval, this hostility, this fear in me. And again, that's a process. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen today or tomorrow or probably next year. But it's a process, piece by piece by piece. And you apply the tools to walk through and work through that. And, some of the hurts that we carry around generationally and, within ourselves. I know this weekend I was doing some pretty deep processing and still point breathing and came across a generational pattern that was horrendously physically and emotionally painful, and realized it wasn't just mine, but it was a very common one in the culture. And to just choose to be with that and to let it move, to let it process through me, and to recognize that when I open and awaken to the truth of who I am, that I can become the space. You go back and you read about Yeshua taking on the sins of the world. And that's oftentimes done by the religions in a way of blaming you, because if you hadn't sinned, he wouldn't have had to do it. What Yeshua was doing was opening his field to free himself of his generational patterns, and we're told that his healing process was so intense in Gethsemane that he sweat blood. Now, I don't know if you've had any healing crisis where you've gotten to the point where you've sweat blood yet. I've had some pretty intense healing crises. I haven't had one that deep yet, and I'm not asking for it. I'll gladly let that one go. But we're told that's how deep his process went. And then it wasn't that he put himself in a position of blame for what the world was doing. He put himself in a position where, as the active presence of love, he was to begin to embrace the seemingly incalculable, unfathomable pain and suffering in the world, and be the space where it could be dissolved. Now, perhaps it would be helpful to imagine yourself, he took 3 disciples to Gethsemane with him. And in essence, what he said to them is, you guys, I've been training you to be the space of love now for 3 years full time. I want you to come and hold the space for me. He goes into the garden. He's like, Dad, I'm not sure I can do this. And then he checks for the energy of his support team, those who are supposed to be holding to active present love for him. He goes and he's like, can't you guys even stay awake for an hour? Could you imagine yourself, Doug, in a state of connectedness and goodwill, going with him and being at the Garden of Gethsemane and holding that space? Being that space. Maybe even coming up to the point where you step into the garden with him and hold the space, shoulder to shoulder, for literally becoming the space where all of the unfathomable pain of the world could be processed and healed. That, perhaps if those who were at the garden gate had stayed awake, perhaps the 4 of them together could have gotten ahead of, could have been in such a powerful processing space that they'd gotten ahead of the rate at which the world was generating pain, and were able to start to reduce, and give the world, you've worked with the Course in Miracles, and the Course talks about the holy instant. Perhaps give the world just one holy instant where the pain has been drained off sufficiently that people can start over again. That's a visual I was given this weekend in the work I was doing.
That's great.
And you know what it's going to take to do it? Commitment up the wazoo.
Yeah.
So are you willing to move to that level and move to that space? And the only thing you're going to have to give up is everything you've ever learned.
As in everything I ever learned about trying to please people and meet their goals and please my power person for approval and all that, and everything.
And please yourself, and disapproval, heal the disapproval of self. Yeah, all that.
Sounds like a good plan to me.
Well, it really means that we each really need to grow up beyond anything we've ever conceived of before. So I'd support you, if that makes sense, writing out, or maybe if you've got any artistic bent, drawing yourself there, seeing yourself there, and being inspired to do the work that it takes to be there, to hold that space. And we are down to the last few seconds, so the show's going to cut us off, so I'm just going to say thank you for opening the conversation, and maybe we continue it tomorrow if appropriate. And we'll be holding the space for your conversation this afternoon.
All right. Very good.
Who knows? Maybe she'll be ready to go there with you.
Maybe.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Michael.
Okay,
great.
Sir. Appreciate you. Blessings. Holding the space. Bye-bye. Thank you, everybody, for joining us.